It's 2 o'clock. I'm James Spann in the Weather Center with an update on the severe weather situation. First off, we still have this high risk of severe weather. You all know by now this is relatively rare and very substantial threat for much of north and central Alabama. And a new tornado watch has just been issued. Let's go right to the radar, and we'll kind of get you up to date on that. This new tornado watch will be in effect for basically all of our viewing area and most of Alabama until 10 o'clock tonight. And this watch is a PDS watch. That means that this is a particularly dangerous situation. And again, that means that we could see a few potentially violent long-track tornadoes across the region this afternoon. And we encourage everybody to be close to a good source of severe weather information in that storms are starting to form. Now, what we're going to do here in just a moment, we are going to go back to regular programming. There are no formal tornado warnings for any part of our viewing area. No severe weather in progress at this point. I think there will be by 3 o'clock, but we are going to stay on the live stream on ABC3340.com. So if you'd like to watch our continuing coverage, fire up your browser, your iPhone app, your Android app. There are many ways of watching that. But I do want to show you this before we go to regular programming, that this storm is already starting to show signs of rotation. This is a thunderstorm that is forming near Berry, a town that was hit very hard. Extremely significant damage this morning in Fayette County from the morning thunderstorm complex. And you can see the system showing a TVS. That's a tornado vortex signature now. The town of Berry is here. That's Alabama Highway 18 coming through Corona. And the tornado impact number is a 4.4. Now,
12.6.
Wow. I've never seen that before.
No.
The significant tornado index is at 12.6. And
I thought it went to 10.
I did too. So that's something we've just learned. But understand that the dynamics are as strong as they will ever be today. We don't say that to scare anybody, but we say that to let you know that we do have potential for a few long-track violent tornadoes this afternoon and tonight. So we'll take off this data, and again, just to show you, and the Weather Service might consider a tornado warning for this. This is Walker County. This is Fayette County, so the tornado signature is sitting on the county line, moving northeast, and that will be passing to the west of Oakman, coming up here toward Townley, and then ultimately crossing Interstate 22, maybe a little to the west of Jasper. But again, that is a very strong rotational signature. So I tell you what, before we do anything here, let's hold it here, and let's see if the Weather Service is going to warn for this one. And if they don't, they probably will in a matter of moments. So more than likely what's happening at this point is we're starting to see the capping inversion beginning to erode. That's a layer of warm air off the ground that tends to prevent parcels from rising above that. Once we reach the convective temperature, the air parcels go through that. Storms explode rapidly, and with the dynamics coming into play, any of these storms could produce a tornado. So again, let's hold it here for just a little bit. In fact, we might be holding it here for 10 hours. But again, we have indication of a possible tornado now sitting on the Fayette-Walker County line, a little northeast of the community of Berry. And again, Berry was hit so hard by very strong winds and possibly a tornado this morning. And again, this would be the possible signature moving northeast. Let's take the Jasper Skycam. Now, this is an interesting shot because we've got major damage across the state from the morning storms. In fact, we'll let Jason pan down on that and understand that that is damage from the thunderstorm complex that came through this morning. That building in downtown Jasper. And the one thing that we really want to stress here is this is a very odd situation. I have been doing this since in Birmingham since 1979, and I cannot recall an event in which we are going into this with about 250,000 people with no power from the morning convection, the morning storms we had, which means that we are going to have a much harder time providing warnings for people this afternoon and tonight. Now, if you're watching me on television, more than likely you've got power. But many people do not, and that means that we've encouraged people all morning to charge your batteries, get your weather radio batteries set so that if we have new warnings, you can get those. There's the Fayette Skycam.
We just lost Jasper.
I'm sorry?
We just lost the Jasper camera.
Okay. Yeah, power is coming and going. Alabama Power has done an amazing job. I know they have restored at least 80,000 people since this morning. They have come a long way, but there's a long way to go. This is the Fayette Skycam, and again, look at the metrics here. The temperature 71, a dew point of 72. You might see that in July or August, but you don't see that in April around here. That's an amazing number, and that storm is between Fayette and Jasper that we're watching here. So again, we'll go back to the radar And we're going to hold it on the television side here for just a little bit. I have a funny feeling the Weather Service might consider a tornado warning here soon.
So they're watching it closely. So
yeah,
I think
we are. And, it's in a development stage. When the cap starts to break, you'll know within a few minutes where the hot spots will be. Clearly, we have dangerous rotating storms back over parts of central Mississippi, and those will be moving in here later today. But again, this storm is the one to watch. This one down here has prompted a tornado warning that's approaching Philadelphia, Mississippi. And again, if you notice, if it follows that track, that's going to wind up in Pickens County, maybe North Tuscaloosa County, and maybe ultimately affecting places like Jasper. And these are not going to be the kind of storms like on a summer day where they pop up, they rain themselves out, they go away. These will be storms that have sustained long-lasting rotating updrafts, and they will stay there perhaps for hours. And many of you that have lived here for a long time know that we've had these before, and those are the ones that traditionally produce the strong, violent tornadoes that can be a direct threat to life and property. And it's tragic to report that at least 5 people have died this morning in the state. 5 deaths in the state from weather this morning from that lead batch. So again, this is a very serious situation. So we're watching this storm, and again, that's got a TVS, and that will be approaching Pickens County in Alabama probably in about 40 minutes, and more than likely a warning will be required there. And again, this storm, it's got that kidney bean shape and a hook back in the back edge. There's your inflow notch. Potential for a tornado now, a little to the south of Townley, and that's going to be out here cutting across Interstate 22 and the old U.S. Highway 78, now called Alabama Highway 118, relatively soon. And remember, that's the live radar there.
No, the live radar, we lost some communication with it this morning.
Okay.
It's spinning, but we're not getting any data.
Okay,
so we're
I got you.
going to work with that. That is Columbus, Mississippi, so you're getting a little bit of a different perspective on what the storm looks like relative to the radar side. And of course, with the different radars, they're coming in with their volume scans at different times. The difference between our live radar and the National Weather Service NexRad, there are a couple of differences, but the primary one is that the live radar gives us a sweep every 60 seconds. The National Weather Service radar on a day like this is about 3 to 4, sometimes 5 minutes, depending on the latency of the data and how quickly it can get in. So you look at a storm from a different radar, it's going to be in a slightly different position, not just because of the angle of the radar, but because sometimes those volume scans come in a little bit of a different time. From Columbus, we still see a pretty well-defined pendant on that. Let's look at the velocity display, and I think you're still going to notice that we have an indication of circulation there on the southwest flank of the storm, which is in the spot that you would expect it. It appears to have intensified a little bit. I'll use the highlighter here and highlight that spot for you just east of Townley. That's up there pretty close to the Townley rest stop. So we don't know that there's a tornado on the ground, though. There's no formal warning. But this thing is the first storm of the day. It is in an uninhibited environment. Anything that's flowing up into that moisture-wise and heat and humidity helping to fuel it, so it will likely continue to rapidly develop. This is a look from the Birmingham NexRad, and we'll just take the different perspective on it and see what it looks like from the other side. And it looks like it's wrapping up a little bit. Check out the parameters here on the TVS. And once this pops in here, I think we're going to see numbers that might even be a little bit higher than earlier. Tornado impact of a 5.5. It has lost that significant tornado impact number that it had, but the actual tornado impact is a little bit higher than it was a few minutes ago. Movement to the northeast at about 47 miles per hour. We've had quite a bit of lightning develop in the last 5 minutes over Highway 124 out toward Highway 102 and Alabama 69. And the circulating part of this storm would likely come over the west side of the city of Jasper based on the direction that things are moving here. In fact, we can put a fan on and put in an estimated storm motion of about 47 miles per hour.
We've got a tornado warning for Walker and Winston. All right,
there it is.
First tornado warning of the day. And again, let me step out and I'll step back in. And again, that's the reason we wanted to hold it here on the air, because we knew this was coming. So this is the first tornado warning of the day. The Weather Service issuing a tornado warning for Walker and Winston counties. A possible tornado has actually been reported based on this warning. And again, this is a day where we have multiple sky watchers out watching these things. These are trained spotters. And so again, I'm sorry, I take that back, Jason. What I saw here, the spotters reported a tornado up in Moulton. That's up in Lawrence County. This is going to be a radar indicated possibility. Okay, so again, this is not a one where somebody has actually seen it. The two came back to back, and I just looked at the wrong one. This is a radar indicated tornado, but again, let's show you who's in and who's out. We'll take off the radar data, and if you watch us, you know we'll do that. We'll show that bright red, and that represents the polygon where there is a tornado warning in effect, and you can see it does include the city of Jasper and points north up to the Winston County line. It includes Highway 257 all the way up to Arley and Meek High School, which is right here, and Addison, which is right here. And, of course, that would include the western shore of Smith Lake. So this is a tornado warning in effect for Walker and Winston counties. It does not include Double Springs. It does not include Haleyville. It does not include Lynn. This does include Jasper, Curry, Manchester. We'll say Nauvoo. Nauvoo is right here on the very edge of that, but there's the polygon. And again, this will be moving across the western and northern part of the city of Jasper. I bet you the power's still out at the Skycam site. We're going to check that.
Yeah, let me look at that really quickly.
We've got, and again, understand, if you're just joining us and are not aware what happened this morning, at one point we had more than 250,000 people in this state without power from a massive line of storms this morning that produced widespread damage, and 5 people were killed this morning. All right, let's go back to our Skycam now, and I think we've got the...
No, we still have Fayette.
Okay, we don't have... Okay.
Yeah, let me pop that up so you can see it a little bit better, but Jasper's out right now.
Okay. So again, this is a situation, and this is going to be the kind of day today. And again, with a high risk, you've heard me say this before, and I know that we have a lot of tornado warnings in this state and a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings, but you have to respect them today because of the atmospheric conditions. This is a day where we could see some violent tornadoes, perhaps long-track tornadoes that get down on the ground and stay down on the ground for 20, 30, 40 miles or longer. And I'm afraid we will have multiple instances of these today. So again, we'll take a closer look at this storm. Again, this is the standard reflectivity display. We'll check the velocity. The rotational couplet looked pretty good, as we saw that earlier. And of course, the triangle you see on the screen, that is a TVS, or a tornado vortex signature. And again, right back here in the back flank of that storm is where there's potential for a tornado, and it's moving northeast about like that. This is downtown Jasper, so this rotational signature probably is crossing Interstate 22 right now, a little west of downtown Jasper. If you're in downtown Jasper, points north and west, you need to be in a safe place. There's Manchester. This is the split right here. That's 257 that goes up towards Smith Lake and Curry. And of course, this Alabama Highway 195 that goes up toward Double Springs. That's Alabama Highway 5 right here that goes up toward Nauvoo. And again, strong indication of a tornado right now. So, Jason, I'll kick it back over to you. We've got a big team of folks out in the field today. And again, we're going to be looking for the live streams. And if we'll get a guy on this storm, we'll take a look at that here in a second.
Okay, what we're looking at here, this is the velocity data off of the Columbus, Mississippi NexRad. It looks a little stronger. Of course, we're a little closer to that radar, so we're seeing the storm at a little lower angle from Columbus than we are from the Birmingham radar. It's kind of in that no man's land right there where it's not the perfect situation, but you've got at least 2 vantage points. From Birmingham, it doesn't look quite as good, but certainly from Columbus, Mississippi, that circulation is very strong. It's just north of the Hilliard community, which is on Highway 124, just west of the split there with 124 and Highway 69 at McCollum. Hilliard Loop Road is out there. So this is a little bit north of Hilliard. It's very close to I-22, west of the point where you can exit and get off on Old 78 and go back in down toward downtown Jasper on the north side of town like you typically would. This is passing a little bit west of Alabama 269. This will be a West Jasper storm, and there are a lot of communities up on the area where this is headed that are familiar with tornadoes from the past. Saragossa, Manchester, Marigold. This may stay just a little south of Lupton, but it's close enough that you should be in a safe place. The Jasper Airport is and the Farmstead area. You're also in line. This possible tornado working up on the west side of Jasper is very well headed in your direction. No reports of damage so far from this storm as it's moved through Walker County, but we're watching it very closely because there's communication problems. I don't know any other way to put it. We have severe infrastructure damage in Walker County. The EMA earlier this morning was just having trouble communicating with each other, trying to figure out where damage was and make sure people were rescued. And we got some incredible pictures from Cordova earlier. Imagine this. The atmosphere is a little bit more ripe for tornadoes now than it was at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock when all that rolled through Walker County earlier on today. So we have a much more favorable environment for tornadoes. With a velocity couplet like that, I would give you a very high probability that there is something down on the ground there. And as it interacts with a boundary that's